Aisha.
Hi, Karen. How you doing?
What's happening? I'm good. I'm good. It's good to see you.
As
Um,
always, awesome to
as
see
always, for
you.
sure. So, for those folks who are at home, my name is Karen Meshkov, aka K-Mesh. I'm the Director of Business Development for Flower Hire. And I am here with the one and only inimitable Aisha Alves, our talent success executive who's holding down the Southeast. Aisha is from Florida and has been instrumental over the past couple months in helping us develop that market. Flower Hire, we focus on executive recruiting for the legalized cannabis and hemp industries. And with the industry really taking off in Florida, it's been critically important to have someone on the ground who really understands the needs of the operators there and their growing need for strategic leadership and direction. So yeah, I'm
Florida's
so
so
glad you're
hot
here.
right now.
Florida's so hot right
So
now,
hot right now.
literally and figuratively. So I'm so glad we're here because it's May, and it also means it's AAPI month, which is exciting and important. I mean, I think I've been thinking quite a lot about what's been happening in America and abroad, and I think as a society we're definitely experiencing a surge, right, in hate crimes against the Asian community and other minority communities, and the need for a collective response is imminent, right? And so education, understanding, peeling back the layers and really figuring out like, what do we know? What do we think we know? Where are the ways that we need to really kind of unlearn stereotypes and places of misinformation? And I think, that need is really arguably greater than it's ever been. And
I agree.
so, yeah. And so I think, as you and I talk about a lot, like through the particular lens of Flower Hire, where we are thinking all day, every day about cannabis careers, and the trajectory of cannabis careers and bringing people into this industry. And of course, a lot about education and misinformation and redirect narrative. How can we understand Asian American professionals? And how can we bring them into this industry, help develop them, help to have them feel seen and understood and have a voice? And I think that's and what are the challenges on the way to that?
I think that's a great question, Karen. And thanks so much for spending time to talk with me today about this. It is something that is very important to me personally. And I think as an industry, it should be something that, we should be talking about more in general. So, when it comes to Asian Americans, one of the most persistent issues is, this lack of exposure and lack of awareness in American society, and also, even in the workplace. I'm sure you've heard the stereotype where they call Asians the invisible minority. Have you heard that before?
Yeah.
The as a group, a lot of times we're overlooked and we're assumed to be just like a monolith, just like everyone, all Asian Americans are put into the same bucket. And then that bucket then is assigned the most, the most cliche and obvious of stereotypes. And because of that, people assume that we as Asians would only be interested in taking on certain types of responsibilities in the industry, or even would only be interested in working in certain industries, right? So, for example, when I tell people that I am now working in cannabis, I can tell that they're so surprised, and I can see that look on their face that clearly says, oh, I didn't know Asians were into weed. And it's just, it just shows, there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I mean, I think it's interesting, like what you're saying about there being like no prevailing Asian culture.
No, you're right. And
More
it's,
about that.
yeah, for sure. And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just so
No,
excited
no.
about talk about this next thing.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like there is no one prevailing Asian culture. It's a completely diverse group made out of a number of different nationalities. And each of those nationalities are bringing their own unique set of perspectives towards an issue. So when you talk about cannabis in particular, you can say that in most Asian American communities, cannabis and its use, it's just not as prevalent or openly discussed as it would be in other communities. So it creates this enduring stigma around the plant that's based largely on just disinformation and ignorance. And, it's especially ironic, right? Because as we know in the cannabis industry, the plant's earliest historical use as herbal medicine comes from where?
Yeah.
East Asia.
It's fascinating. Yeah. So tell me about the project that you're building around AAPI month. And I'd love to hear a little bit about where that came from.
Yeah, we're so excited about it.
What we're doing.
So this month, May, we are going to highlight 8 notable Asian Americans in the cannabis industry and within the extended flower hire family. We chose 8 actually because in Chinese numerology, it's considered the luckiest of all numbers. And the number 8 actually is a symbol for prosperity. And that tradition has, spread all across Asia, and it has been, adopted by a lot of different cultures. So 8, magic number.
Excellent. And the word the eight is like for prosperity, right?
Prosperity, wealth, success. Yep. I'm going to change my email to Aisha888@flowerhire.com.
All things we're trying to build, for sure. That sounds awesome. And tell me about, can you give me, I am noticing your fine t-shirt that you were wearing. Could you show that to us and tell us a little bit about the origination of that and how that ties into the campaign?
Absolutely. So, first of all, what we did was we knew we wanted to do this campaign. And I got to tell you, just narrowing it down to 8 people was hard enough. Like that was like the hardest part. But we wanted to do something that would celebrate, again, the amazing cultural diversity within the AAPI community, in addition to the fascinating range of ways that they contribute to the cannabis industry. So a couple of weeks ago, I actually, I saw this shirt online. I am Asian American, and it was actually designed by a friend of mine who I went to high school with, and he has a clothing brand called Anoi. You can also find it on Amazon. But I think that the message, it's so simple and it's so powerful because it urges us to speak up and be proud of who we are. So during AAPI Heritage Month, we have a platform that allows us to speak up a little louder and take that message a little bit further in saying I am. You are also honoring your and your family's immigrant experience. You are celebrating and showing pride for your talents and your contribution to the industry. And finally, you are also talking about who you are as an individual. So, that really was the inspiration behind this campaign. We will be showing someone different every day for 8 consecutive days. So Flower Hire on Instagram is where you need to go to check it out, share it, talk about it. And oh, by the way, if you love the shirt, the proceeds of this sale will go to AAPI nonprofit org. So, good all around.